G'day everybody, Simon here, Explosive Action. Another shopping trip, you say? That's right, we're going to a pop-up movie store run by a few of my buddies today, see what Blu-rays they got for sale, and a couple of records I'm going to pick up as well, so let's go shopping.
So first stop is Utopia Records in the city. I've got my eye particularly on one CD we're going to pick up. Taking a look in the seconds, we see a really cool Rotted album that's been quite out of print for a while. We have the Overkill Taking Over used record there. We got Monstrosity compilation album. Hypocrisy Abducted, probably my favorite. Jewel case edition, mine's a digipack. And Crypt El Nino, classic Queensland death metal band. This is what I came to pick up, the new Incantation. And I thought I'd get an old Mayhem while I was here too, into Red Eye Records. Going to take a look in here, see if there's anything worth picking up. Quite a few records in, but usually I leave empty-handed. Taking a look through the bin here, the first one that spots my eye is this one from Battle Axe, Power from the Universe. This is an OG press from the 80s. Battle Axe isn't too bad, but it's a little bit like Judas Priest Light, so I left it there. Check out the cover on this Sea Hags album. I'm no fan of glam metal, but Australian press with that cover is pretty cool to see. Over the bridge to the vintage markets, and the first thing I see is this King Kong figure, really cool. Into the DVDs and the Blu-rays is smattering of the usual things, and then, hello, some adult education material. Taking a look at the posters, some nice day bills here, Mr. Billion. Quite like the Lost Continent one next to it, that's rather cool. Race with the Devil, another good poster. The Crooked City, old pulp novel there. And Space Station 42, I love the cover on that one. Silent Night, Bloody Night, the EX Films recreation VHS in an old vintage Focus video case, as well as that Don't Open That Door, Dreamscape, nice big coloured day bill there on EMI Thorn, Chuck Norris Warzone, which I believe is an episode of Walker Texas Ranger. Anybody know what this Greek adult looking film is? Some Chucky dolls here, the Bride of Chucky set's rather cool. I like the Jaws poster, but that Minotaur figure was really catching my eye. Really great little thing, that. Outside there was another DVD stall I took a quick look at. Some interesting Warner and Kino titles, and this Artsploitation Films release seems to be a more modern film. Check out this one, Criminal Life, old Olive Films release. Rush on Kino. Across the street, there's this strange bric-a-brac shop that has all kinds of vintage toys and VHS, wrestling figures, all kinds of stuff. I'm not really too sure what they sell, but it's not the things in the window. And into Repressed Records, which is why I'm over this side of the bridge. Taking a look at the records, just like we did last time. But Dripping Decay, look at that cover, Festering Grotesqueries. Absolutely made it a mission to pick this one up today. Brilliant cover on that. A few other ones I showed in my last video, definitely worth checking out. And this Pizza Death, check out the cover on that, Australian band. The new Exhumed, very keen on this one. Take a look at some of the CDs. They got some Morbius reissues here. Sojourn's album's particularly good, Shades Below. Torture Rack I need to pick up at some point. Triumvirate gets my recommendation, as does Suffering Hour. Checking out some of the stuff in the Death Grind 7 inches. Contamination, new EP. And now we're at the movie markets at the Dock Hotel. This is the second time the movie market's been on. There's a third one coming up soon. We'll take a quick look at what was on offer. Nice VHS here. Some American releases, Oasis of the Zombies. Zombie 4 and Virgin Among the Living Dead. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Some old Midnight Movies double features. I like how the sections are Euro, Giallo, Foreign. Nice to see. You can tell that they've proper film fans have put this little collection together. Some classic horrors in the front. Giant Leech. Lair of the White Worm. Peeping Tom. And the For Your Height Only Australian Umbrella release. Fantastic. Big Racket. Mad Dog Killer. Wasp Woman. The Bat. Quite a random array of films. Good to see a mix of DVD and Blu-ray on display. Killer Shrews. The Steve McQueen Hunter release from Imprint. Murder in a Blue World. Definitely getting harder to find. Beware My Brethren. Cannibal Ferox. And a House sequel. Some good books. Hollywood Babylon. And there's Goblin The Awakening CD set. All kinds of albums here from Goblin. Nice to see that. Some soundtracks on LP. We got Basket Case, Muppet Movie, Rosemary's Baby, Return of the Swamp Thing. I like the Alien figure. I've got one of those myself. Some Horror Hound magazines. Old Ozploitation release there from Umbrella. Kill Bill Diary by David Carradine. Alien figure. That was very tempting. Bitter Moon Polanski poster. And another whole row of DVDs and blues to take a look at. Really well priced on They Live There and Cat's Eye behind it. Some VHS. Wicked Willy the movie. Assassination from Bronson. Great Evil Speak release on Warner. These were all going for very cheap prices. Original release of Amityville Horror on Star Video. That's a challenging tape to find. Some Blu-rays of Terrifier, Martyrs, Satan's Blade. I have never brought myself to watch that Winnie the Pooh film. Killing Machine, great cover. Oxford Blues. Dirty Laundry, great cover again. Aurora Encounter. Another box of Blu-rays here, many of these still sealed. Some Filth from Peakorama. Hammer Horror, the original version of Ticks. Some Eastern Eyes, some Arrows. Many great films to choose from. Thirst. Martyrs again, Australian release this time. Massage Parlour Murders, that's a Vinegar Syndrome early release. Funhouse Massacre. Really cool to see these releases here from Cinema Obscura. They were very challenging to find originally. Excellent prices for them. And a whole bunch of Jean Rollin and Redemption Films releases here. And a well-earned beer. Yeah, the Kung Pao chicken. Yeah, Szechuan beef, some dim sims. So let's talk about the things that I picked up at the movie market and the things I got from the record store. These were not titles I was expecting to pick up. My experience with this particular director has been limited, but the films I've seen did not enthrall me. I'm talking about Jean Rollin, but my buddy was selling all of the previous Redemption releases of his films because of the forthcoming Eureka sets. I was willing to give the director another go with two people, including my buddy and one of my other friends there, giving some specific recommendations for films from him that actually had a bit of a plot, had some horror elements, and weren't just art house lesbian vampires. So the two that were recommended to me particularly were Grapes of Death and The Living Dead Girl.
got them for a song. Very happy with the price. But yeah, I don't know much about them except for the great cover on this one. So Living Dead Girl. Read a little bit from the back on this one. Living Dead Girl, La Morte Vivante, is the story of Catherine Valmont. That's Francois Blanchard, a wealthy heiress dead before her time, who is accidentally reanimated when some unfortunate movers attempt to store drums of chemical waste in the neglected burial vaults below her uninhabited chateau. Already sounds interesting. Roland's Living Dead Girl does everything that cinematic convention requires. She kills people, drinks human blood, devours human flesh. Yet, for all this, we accept her as an innocent. Meanwhile, the effect that is her resurrection has upon her childhood friend Helena, played by Marina Piero, is infinitely more conscious, deliberate, and evil. Bloodier and more violent than his own taste preferred. Perhaps why I might like this one. The Living Dead Girl forced Roland to work against the grain in his own preferred genre, and he transformed himself in the process. Unsettling, bloody finale, Blanchard's performance was so intense, so extreme, in its confused appetite, revulsion, and glee, the take was nearly interrupted out of concern for the actress's mental health. So look, if any of these are going to grab me, it could very well be this one. It looks pretty bonkers. And if it's a film the director was himself uncomfortable making because it wasn't like his others, there's a greater chance of me digging it. Maybe I'll get more into Roland over time, but man, I've tried a couple, and as I said, they were just, too artsy, less fartsy. Here's the Redemption disc. So Redemption was an old label that Kino did, and the name Redemption I think was from an old UK VHS line. So you get a nice booklet here. So for the price that I paid, yes, these are older releases, probably pushing a decade now, but I'm told the transfers are really good and they're Kino. Plus, look, for what I paid, which is essentially a couple of coffees per release. That's what I'm going to pay. I'm not going to go and buy the Eureka fancy sets at $60 each Australian when I don't particularly like the director. But I think I ended up paying $15 each. Living Dead Girl will get a chance from me. So will The Grapes of Death. Roland's most frightening movie, so hopefully that's the case. Polluted wine produced for a village's annual grape harvest festival has left all but a few rabid with some chemically endangered form of zombieism. Both of these read so much better than a lot of the other ones that I looked at in the collection he was selling. They may saunter about like sleepwalkers, but they are not zombies of George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. They are rather oozing transmitters of an impassioned insanity that can only be termed anarchy. It seems an odd boast to make for one title in a plentiful filmography devoted to vampires, ghosts, and other undead, but Grapes of Death, Les Raisons de la Mort, I think I did an okay job at that, is Jean Roland's most frightening movie. Good. It was never really the goal of his previous films to frighten, and it is the unsettling, progressively chilling qualities of Grapes that makes it unlike anything else in his poetical canon. You see why I picked these two up. Watching it is almost surprised that Roland would or could direct a film to such a successfully commercial end, but The Grapes of Death unfolds like a ever-expanding nightmare whose noose is drawn all the more tighter by the efforts of its young heroine to escape it. So there you go. Hopefully another one. I mean, that was a very Fulci looking cover there, like the Beyond with the white eyes. That helped sell it. We get another booklet by Tim Lucas, this one. The Arts, Anti-Virgins and Anti-Vampires, the Anti-Roland of Jean Roland. There you go, the Anti-Roland films. Nice little booklet there. And a good disc. So yeah, again, it was $15 or something Australian. This one's from 1978. Lots of features, and it was, at the time, remastered in HD from the original negative. So there you go. I presume Eureka's ones will be, better quality video, better special features, but I'm good. If I like these two, the next movie market, maybe I'll get more. But you tell me down below. For the non-Jean Roland fan, I like Euro horror all the place. I like Jess Franco, but Roland hasn't grabbed me yet. Besides these two, which ones do you recommend to me? That's something I would like to know from you guys. So next up are two sets that I've been eyeing off for a while and have actually just been succeeded by two box sets from 88 Films. One I believe is out, and one they just announced pretty much a couple of days before I picked these up. But when looking at those two sets, again, yes, they'll probably be new remastered editions or whatever, but the combined prices, into the $250 mark Australian, I couldn't walk away from this bargain instead. So I got the Pete Walker collections 1 and 2 from Redemption and Kino. Again, much cheaper than those two 88 sets, and these were both shrink wrapped. My buddy had never actually got around to opening them, so they were new. I got to open them, and because Redemption and Kino were doing such good transfers back then, sure, 88's probably made them slightly better. I'm good here, and I'll probably stop here. House of Whipcord, The Comeback, Schizo, and Die Screaming Marianne. House of Whipcord and Die Screaming are two that I've got on DVD that will now be replaced by this set. I think I have seen both of those two. I've never seen The Comeback and Schizo. Nice slip, you get the same thing inside. And the good thing about it is they're mostly individual discs. So House of Whipcord, Schizo, Die Screaming, and on this one here, The Comeback. And I think the House Whipcord, Comeback, Schizo. Yeah, that's it. That's just the 4. So there you go. That's the 4 discs in this one. The next set, which is, I think, a little bit more exciting because it's got my favourite Pete Walker in there. This is Collection 2, Flesh and Blood Show and Frightmare. Now, Frightmare is a particularly good one. I really enjoyed watching that the first time I did. That's the cover of it there. House of Mortal Sin, Home Before Midnight, and then also a bonus disc that has The Big Switch and Man of Violence. Now, only one I've seen on this one's Frightmare, so another good little set for me to dig into. And as I said, these were all new and sealed still. And then you look on eBay and they're going for significantly more prices. So that's good. In this one we get, again, taking a look, Flesh and Blood Show, Frightmare, House of Mortal Sin, Home Before Midnight, and the 2 film disc Big Switch and Man of Violence. So really nice pickups there. They're all good, transfers. They're just now a little bit out of date, I suppose. The discs were made in, is there a date on the back here? 2015. 2015 is not that long ago. I mean, it's 8 years ago. Sure, in Blu-ray life, that's significant. But I think I'm going to be fine with these sets. You get a bunch of special features for each film, and there's a bonus. The bonus disc has got Man of Action, an interview with Pete Walker, so that could be interesting. Nice sets there. Really happy to get these, as I said, for the price. Pete Walker collections. Nice sets there from Kino and Redemption. Sure, 88 films is probably going to trump it, but I think I'm good, particularly for the price I paid. So they're the films. Now, if we take a look at some of the metal that I picked up. Yes, in Utopia, I picked up 2 CDs. I got the new Incantation, Unholy Deification. You read it too fast and it looks like defecation. Like, that's more of a grindcore album. Unholy Defecation. Deification, don't drop the I. This is a belter. I've been playing the promo of this on my phone for about a month now. The promo came out a while ago. Short version, significant improvement over the last 2 albums, I think, that they've dropped. This is about as good as their sort of 2016 kind of era. It's really, really good. The production is not too... The problem I had with the last album was it was just a little bit too clinical, and also the songs weren't particularly memorable. Both sorted on this one. The songs are far more interesting, and the production is far more warm and deserving of what Incantation should sound like. So, yeah, I only ever go CD on this band. I haven't... the only LP I've got is the very first album. I'm not going to go down LP for everything with these guys. But yeah, really happy to get the new one from Incantation. And because I was in Utopia and they had a used sale, and because I really dug that Ruim album with Blasphemer on guitar, I thought I should give his Mayhem era albums another go. And this was a cheapie in the used era. This is Mayhem Chimera. This is the one that follows Grand Declaration, which is an album I really like. I am told that Auto Ad KO is, which is the one after this, is the really, really good one with Blasphemer. I haven't heard that. Like, I think I listened to it streaming, a decade ago or more, and probably forgot about it. But Chimera, again, I think I did the same with, but for the price, I will give this a go on my shelf. So yeah, I did see a couple of these tracks live when they played recently. I think it was My Death, I think particularly was the track that they played live, and it sounded good. But I wasn't familiar with it, so now I'll get myself familiar with Mayhem Chimera, see how this one goes. And so I did pick up those 2 records you saw in Repressed. The whole reason I went into Repressed was to get particularly this one, Dripping Decay. Look at that outstanding cover artwork. I mean, that is everything. It is absolutely everything. It is dripping and bubbly and gory and sinewy, and there's zombies and there's coffins on fire. It's got everything you want. Festering Grotesqueries, which is a great name for an album. This is the latest band from Neil Smith, who was the guitarist, sort of founder of Frightmare, which is an early Razorback Records band from sort of the mid-2000s. They did 2 really good death thrashy, death grindy releases, which was all horror themed, Friday the 13th themed, lots of horror movie samples and stuff. Really good albums. I still play those consistently. He was also in Lord Gore, in Blood Freak, all his horror, video nasties, 80s VHS themed bands. And Dripping Decay is that kind of sound again. To me, this sounds a bit like, it sounds like Exhumed meets Mulder, like the newer band Mulder. It's got gory death grind, but it's also got that fast death thrash and the sort of Martin Van Drunen sort of bits and bobs in there. That's the kind of thing you get with this, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Fantastic cover here. The artwork's by I think I say it's Tony. I can't say his surname. Finnish guy, Tony, name here, who's done. He's done stuff for Cadaveric Incubator, and I'm seeing a lot of sort of reimaginings of the demo tapes through old Skull records for old Finnish bands like Agonized and stuff like that. So he's doing a bunch of good work, but this takes the biscuit. Great artwork here, Tony. And inside we get nice layout again. Again, going with that VHS theme, like you've got your smile and rewind sticker, just random zombies and things with the lyrics. Great inner there. Love that. That could be a cover itself with the song titles there. And it's just a black LP, nothing too exciting there, but good inner circles there. Inner circles. Inner labels. My God, I'm out of words. So there you go. Good stuff from Dripping Decay. Going to spend a few more spins with this one to really get to grips with it. But, it's just filthy and nasty and horrible. And Marc G with a C, death metal. That's what this is. And I picked up, I mentioned Exhumed. I got the latest Exhumed. So I was talking to Melanie from Melanie Loves Death Metal about this band. And we both kind of agreed that it was, Exhumed's one of those old staples that we kind of forget. That they're consistently putting stuff out. It's never bad, but we kind of don't look at them that much, and it's because of bands like Festering Decay and all this other new stuff and the new school bands, and Exhumed's somewhere in the middle, like your old school bands. Like Carcass drops a new album, I'm going to go listen to a new Carcass album, but Exhumed, I don't know. They're a band I like, but they're a band I keep forgetting about. I got their previous one, which was just called Horror. Again, that horror VHS theme, and they did a really good job with that album. And that was the first time I'd listened to the band since like Slaughter Cult, which is 20 years before it. And this is their latest one, To the Dead. Another fantastic artwork on this one. I am really enjoying this. This is a far more refined sounding Exhumed. Pulled back a little bit, like it's still death grind, but there's a bit more melody in here. Yeah, they've been listening to necroticism quite a bit, I think, on this one. And probably, that Impaled influence, particularly the last couple of Impaled albums. We haven't had much from Impaled in a while, but some of the band members are in here. That's sort of bleeding into Exhumed a bit more, I think. Just adding that little bit of the hooky melodies and things. It's not just as gore metal and Slaughter Cult like the old days. But this is really strong. I was surprised at how strong it was, so I was happy to pick it up. And just happy to see all of this Relapse Records stuff showing up at a good price at a local record store. Well done Repressed for starting to get this stuff in. Inside you get, this is the Ox Blood variant. I didn't know oxes had purpley, pinky, reddish blood, but hey, you learn new things. Lots of labels and bands do Ox Blood. There you go, there's the band there, and you get a nice goblet of gore picture on the back. So really good release here from Exhumed, To the Dead. And both good albums that I picked up here. Really happy with them. happy with everything I picked up. My CDs, my Blu-rays, my records. Hope you enjoyed this very quick shopping video since the last one. It was unexpected, but I recalled that the movie market was on, decided to grab an LP at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed coming along with that with me. Yeah, if you did, like, subscribe, check out this thing, check out this thing. I'll see you next time.